Vote on now.
Thank you.
Mr. Silva,
Here.
Mr. Guy,
Yeah.
Mr. Edwards, Ms. McGowan,
Here.
Mr. Evans. Here. Mr. Winterhalter,
Here.
Mr. Locker.
Here.
Thank you. We will start with a moment of silence and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any members have any comments on the agenda before we get started?
Yes, I'm excited.
Glad to hear that.
Thank you.
That's the first.
Trying to lighten the mood a little bit, okay?
You have done that.
Okay, first up, we have the minutes from January 22nd, 2026. Does anybody have any comments or is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Sit down. No, have a seat, please.
So you're on number 6.
Have a seat, please. Thank you.
Okay. There will be public comment.
No.
On the agenda.
So ma'am,
We're on
there's
number
a call
4.
to order. There's a roll call, which we just did. There's a moment of silence. There's an agenda for this evening that gets approved. And then there's public comment for agenda items.
Yeah. And we don't typically do that.
No,
Can you take that off, Steve? Unless it's code required.
Well, my, I think comment was, my ask was as a resident, you haven't seen the front end yet, it just got uploaded, and we would ask that that we would have an opportunity.
You do have public
Oh, yeah,
comment
that-
after, within the process of reviewing it. There's
This,
public comment.
this meeting is handled a little differently in that when we get done a particular presentation and they've all gone back and forth, then they take public comment at that time. Each one before
Yeah.
they take the vote.
Yeah, no,
it's okay. It's listed
Good to
twice.
go.
yeah.
We'll take her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yes, we leave that, though,
Okay,
that's our
okay.
talking.
Back to, do we have a
Motion
comment?
to approve.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the January 22nd minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's approved. So up we have the Campus Boulevard conditional use application deadline, that's just for us. And I would ask that you kind of tell the story of how we ended up here from 2017, they purchased the development.
Sure, happy to. Good evening. I'm Greg Edelman here on behalf of the applicant. It's nice to see everyone this evening. To my left is Mr. Brian Coyle. He is the representative of the applicant and the owner of the property. And Brian can give you an overall background, the kind of summary version as opposed to everything he's had to deal with, that I think will then help us take it to our overall presentation before we get into the specific plans. And all of this hopefully will give the planning commission a better background as well as the public as to how we got to where we are today with the current proposal. So Brian, if you could, as Kurt had said, take us from when you acquired the property, what happened with the market environment and what has led you to this application today.
Sure. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to meet you all. As Greg mentioned, my name is Brian Coyle. I'm the president and CEO of the Henderson Group. We are the owner of 5 buildings in the Newtown Square corporate campus that we acquired in 2017. Prior to us, the buildings were owned by Brandywine Realty Trust. As I mentioned, we own 5 buildings. 3 buildings are on the east side of Campus Boulevard, 11, 15, and 17. We also own 2 buildings on the west side of Campus Boulevard, buildings 14 and building 18. Each building, the 5 buildings altogether are approximately 250,000 square feet. The three buildings on the east side of Campus Boulevard, 11, 15, and 17 are approximately 50,000 square feet each. So about 150,000 square feet on the east side of Campus Boulevard. Building 14 and building 18 make up the other 100,000 square feet. 18 is about 30 or 40,000 square feet, and building 14 is about 60,000 square feet in rough terms. When we purchased those properties in 2017, the buildings were approximately, oh, thank you, that's actually a helpful graphic there. The buildings were approximately 90% leased. I'm sorry, 80% leased. Building 17 was vacant, but the other buildings were generally pretty well occupied. In late 2019 or early 2019, the Department of Forestry was on the second story of building 11. They vacated that space. And then in 2020, unfortunately, we all know what happened in 2020. And a series of tenants left the buildings or downsized. And, one of the best examples that I can give for that is, many of you, if you've traveled through the Newtown Square corporate campus before, building 14 for a long time served as the corporate headquarters of PMI, the Project Management Institute. It's about a 70,000 square foot building, and they were using every bit of it. We were actually in February of 2020 talking to them about taking the second floor of 11 campus that the Department of Forestry had just vacated to lease another 25,000 square feet. We sent out the final LOI to move to a lease in February of 2020. In March of 2020, the world changed. That lease never got signed. And then we actually got the entire building back from PMI in, I believe, January of 2023. They ended up downsizing from about 70,000 square feet to about 5,000 square feet. And they're now in the first floor of building 18, where TV Guide used to be, if you remember TV Guide on the first floor of building 18. And that's kind of, unfortunately, a pretty common story. Executive Health Resources was in building 15. They were a full building user. Post-COVID, at one point, they renewed short-term and went from being a full building user to a half building user. So they went from approximately 50,000 square feet to 25,000 square feet. And then they ended up actually vacating the property at the beginning of sometime in 2020, late 2024, or early 2025. Unfortunately, I can't remember the exact date as we sit here. To combat some of the trends we were seeing, we spent about $1 million installing an amenity center in building 17. We installed what I would call a very nice state-of-the-art fitness center, a grab-and-go cafe, a training center so that if you were a company and you had a sales force, or if you had a team that was somewhat dispersed and you wanted to bring them in and have a large meeting or a large training session, you could do that. You could rent that room out as well as a conference room, and then just more soft seating kind of areas where people can get out of the office itself, maybe go eat lunch, go take a coffee meeting, very in line with what we see in very heavily amenitized office buildings these days. And while that has been a benefit to our tenants, and while it is a resource when we do have showings, unfortunately, the office market today is continuing to evolve, and it still remains a challenge. Tenants are increasingly using less space, which is complicating for a couple of reasons. Obviously, one, if somebody that was using maybe 10,000 square feet is now only using 5,000 square feet, you've lost 5,000 square feet of rentable area. But now you have to build new demising walls, likely new corridors, with fire codes and other codes. We need to make sure everything's safe, and that can mean a lot more costs going into deals. So as we kind of saw all of these trends happening in the office market, we started to explore, what other uses could these buildings be put to? At the time, there was a provision in the SU1 district that allowed for housing for the elderly.
Correct.
And then that kind of began the journey to where we are tonight, was how can we maybe reimagine what's there, and turn something that's challenging to something better.
And what's your current vacancy rate
Oh.
in those buildings?
I apologize. So today, if you'll just give me 1 second, I just need to do a little bit of quick mental math. Building 18 is mostly full. Building 14 is empty. Building 15 is empty. Building 11 and building 17 each have approximately a full floor of users, so half of the building is empty. So 25,000 square feet of occupied space in 11, plus 25,000 square feet of occupied space in building 17, plus approximately 30,000 square feet of occupied space in building 18, divided by 250,000 square feet is roughly a third, 30 to 40% occupancy in those buildings.
And you don't see it changing.
We've had some success in building 18, leasing a pocket of space we got back on the second floor from a tenant named Multiplan that left us. But it's been very, very slow, and it would take years at that rate that it's been happening to get the buildings back to where they used to be.
Okay, so when you started the process of looking at other uses, was the thought process to try to get rid of that open, empty office space and kind of move everybody in and consolidate in the other buildings?
Correct. So we would relocate the tenants that are in the 3 buildings on the east side of Campus Boulevard into building 14 on the west side of Campus Boulevard. And I think it's also just worth noting that we're not the only owner in this park that's experiencing these trends. Building 16 has space available for lease. Building 19 has space available for lease. The Mullins own 2 buildings one has a Bishop Hollow Road address and one has a Campus Boulevard address at the front, which unfortunately, I think maybe the Mullins.
It's down on the corner there.
Yeah, back built. Yeah, you see one of them and then the little L on the right-hand side up by the Bishop Hollow Road intersection. Those 2 buildings are also, I believe, largely vacant. 2 Campus Boulevard also has space. And then also, just if you zoom out of Newtown Square Corporate Campus as well, there, other buildings in the vicinity also have space either directly listed for lease because it's vacant or sublease space available. And it's just a challenging market at the moment.
Okay, I don't know if you want us to jump into the overall presentation where we took it from Brian's approach into where we are today, or whether you have any questions for Brian before we switch, just on his background.
No, I think he can move on.
Yeah, I mean, I would only add that in my day job, I see same kind of decisions made in Plymouth Meeting, Newcastle County. City of Philadelphia has got numerous buildings that they're just not able to lease, so.
I mean, the bottom line of your point is that commercial real estate is not great right now.
This aspect of commercial real estate is not,
Yeah.
there are other aspects that other people might view as doing well, but the office market is undergoing a pretty massive shift right now.
All right, and if I could have that's fine. If I could have Seth Shapiro, he's our planner from Barton Partners. He can walk you through where we started with the conditional use applications that were filed back in 2024, and where we are now after discussions with the township and how things have changed, and then how this comports with the most recently adopted Campus Boulevard redevelopment district zoning amendment that the supervisors passed in February. So Seth, if you want to take it from here with the overall presentation.
Sure. Good evening. Seth Shapiro, Principal Director of Planning and Urban Design for Barton Partners. On the screen, you see the existing conditions of the site. It's pretty typical sort of 60s land planning, 80s type office park. I think it was constructed in the 80s. Yeah, pretty typical. Big surface parking lots, lots of impervious coverage. So the next slide, as Brian mentioned, covers the initial application, which was a land plan that postulated the redevelopment of both sides of Campus Boulevard for a total of 408 residential units. I don't know that this went any further. Did this talk about age restriction or anything like that?
This was the housing for the elderly under the SU1.
Okay.
So it was 62 and up, I think, is what housing for the elderly is under the fair housing exemption.
Okay. So this was just a layout, sort of almost like a capacity diagram. I think Buller, actually, you guys laid this out, of a series of 3-story buildings, 3- and 4-story buildings, totaling 408 units. We got involved, the next slide. You're not running.
I'm not running it.
So the next slide, at that point, we got a call from the folks at Henderson. Hey, you guys are specialists in mixed use and land planning and residential design. How would you approach this if we were to build both sides of this? And we came up with a plan that had sort of the multifamily on the left side here of Campus Boulevard, sort of higher density, 3- and 4-story buildings built over parking, using the topography to our advantage a little bit, as well as some stacked townhouses. And then on the right side, we postulated the idea of just regular townhouses. And I think that total, what was that total? I can't add that up.
What? 120 townhomes, 88 stacked units, and 240 multifamily apartments.
So roughly the same density that we saw before, just with a series of different housing types to sort of appeal to multiple market sectors. Go to the next slide. After some additional feedback, we decided that we would just focus entirely on the, I guess that's the eastern, Plant East side of Campus Boulevard. And this was our first run at a program of a plan that you're going to see today. This had 32 townhouses, 192 multifamily apartments in sort of identical, almost prototypical buildings, and a standalone clubhouse. And then we ringed the community with some regular, the regular townhouses. And this is where we sort of started the process. Next slide. We ended up actually with a plan that does this. Well, actually, this is one iteration further. We got a little bit more detailed into the design of the building, and decided that instead of a series of prototypical, almost off-the-shelf type of residential buildings, we would do something a little bit higher end, a little bit more custom, and do a series of courtyard buildings that are attached in the middle with an integrated clubhouse, and then and move that a little bit closer to Campus Boulevard, and then step down with townhomes, also for rent on the sort of the perimeter of the site. And then finally, we ended up with.
You're saying these are townhomes?
Those are townhomes,
Got
that's
it.
correct.
Go ahead.
Then we ended up, the next plan, which is where we are today, we go to the next slide, which is the 2 packs of townhomes that were up on the right side of our internal drive, were removed. And we went to a series of 5-pack townhouses. And then we still have our multifamily building today.
So this is all age-restricted rental. So 55.
All right, say that again.
All age-restricted rental, so 55 and older rental, including the townhomes. So nothing's a for sale product here. The total was 242 units, 50 townhomes,
50
and
townhomes.
192 1- and 2 bedrooms, 1- and 2 bedroom age-restricted rentals in the 2 apartment structures that are connected by the common amenity.
And what's the age restricted versus elderly and 62 and 55? Can you give a little background? on
Yeah,
there?
there's 2 permitted exemptions or exceptions under the Fair Housing Act. Housing for the elderly was the first one that came out at 62 and older. Then they came in with a second exception of 55 and older. So the 55 and older allows, 55 and older to come in and occupy the grounds. That's what's permitted under the ordinance. So you can't show up with, young couples with kids. It's a non-child type of development. Yeah, probably.
Typically, you can have a child live with the adult, but they have to be 19 or. there's
So yeah, they
Yeah.
can't be below 18, but I think there was a requirement in our ordinance. We had talked to the township about making sure that it was adults only.
Yeah.
We might do a deed restriction to that effect, but that was the discussion, was that it was going to be 55 and older, just adults. We're looking really targeting the empty nester market, obviously.
And
Just
just,
the multifamily with the courtyards, is that 4/1?
3/1.
3/1.
This you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the middle part though.
With,
Paul. The middle
um,
part is the amenities, right? So it's
It's
just,
the amenities,
Yeah.
so the first level is parking, so it's.
yes, correct.
Okay.
That's why you don't see as much sort of impervious coverage because we use the podium.
Right,
To
and not
park
as
it.
much
Again, it's a
impervious.
higher end kind of a product. And the other sort of differentiator for the age restricted, again, the 55 and older, though, both of us are getting a little too close to 55.
we're moving in a couple of years.
They should change it to 60 and 70 because 55 is like right there. Is the units are a little bit bigger. Empty nesters have more stuff, if you will. And there's a need for like storage. So we'll have larger storage. And of course, the amenity program will be a little bit different, a little bit more subdued. We actually have renderings of what we think
Yeah.
this is.
Before we get there, let's go to the next slide and just, we'll come back to this, obviously, but it's
yes.
really important to show you how this relates to what's there now. So you can get a sense of feel as to how we laid things out and.
The red dots are the commercial buildings right now.
Yeah,
Correct.
Seth can take us through these next couple of slides. So we wanted to show you where those
Yeah.
buildings were versus what's being proposed.
So actually, we can go back to that. So you can see the three residential buildings that are organized, and there's gonna be a slide after we go through some of the renderings. It's really gonna sort of hammer home how different this site will feel, like, because right now, I'm not sure what the impervious coverage is.
Did we figure that out, John?
It's like 57.
Right
Yeah.
now.
Done with it, it'll be far less.
44?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're dropping it by almost 13 or 14% of impervious coverage.
Are the buildings still on septic?
Yeah,
And they won't obviously after.
that's right. That's right. We had, you bought the EDUs already too, right?
Mhm.
You bought the EDUs?
Yes.
Yeah, so the sewer's already been purchased.
You will be able to connect. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's, that's actually a big thing. And the other thing that we add is that not only is the impervious coverage obviously coming way down, but now the stormwater management will be upgraded to current standards.
Okay.
So those are pretty big deals that let's go to the next.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take you through some renderings of the can we go to the next slide?
There's a blank slide and then it transitions
Right.
to the next one. I asked Seth why is the blank slide and he said it's transition.
Guess it didn't work out, did it?
It's a planner thing. Yeah.
No transitions.
No transition slide.
All right, so we're gonna go in alphabetical order, A, B, C, and D. A is actually gonna be from an elevated point of view, so it's not actually an eye height, but the rest of them will be eye height. So let's go to the next slide. So this is as if we were sort of hovering a little bit over Campus Boulevard. You can see the townhouses on the right side there, and then the multifamily building, the 3/1 on the left side. And you'll see that the townhouses are 3 stories, except we actually stepped down to just a 2-story unit. The closer we get.
One question.
Yeah.
Just so I get the bearings while you're going through all of this. Campus Boulevard itself would be right here
That's correct.
in front of this sidewalk.
That's sort of that sidewalk.
Got it.
That's correct. And so we stepped down the townhouses. One, this is an age restricted product and we wanted to have some townhomes that were mastered down. Obviously all of the units in the multifamily building are flats. But we thought that having that differentiation of product there was important. So this is looking again, sort of from Campus Boulevard, right as if you're coming in from the south, coming in and there's the building. Then this next one will be from Campus Boulevard itself. At the 4-story building, again, 3/1. You can see the Amazon truck, which we put in every slide that we do now. And the multi-use trail. And this is sort of one of those courtyard buildings. I would say that this is the back of the building, but I don't actually think this has a back or front. It's kind of almost a campus boulevard. It's kind of more campusy.
Yeah.
So I can't really tell you what the back and what the front is. Next slide. This is now looking a little bit further down Campus Boulevard. And now you can see actually the two buildings. And if that center tree wasn't there, you'd be looking at the main amenity space.
Yeah.
And you can see the
The locator.
the key on the lower left. That's a Jaguar.
Yes.
And then last slide is actually from inside the community. You can see one of the townhouse packs on the left side. And then this is looking at the amenity building that connects these two multifamily structures. Building material wise, aesthetically, we're looking at red brick, a lot of cement hardy type of panel. We didn't want it to stand out too much in the office campus. It should sort of kind of fit into there.
Blend in.
What was that? Yeah, blend in.
Blend in.
I'm not sure that there's a vernacular here for in this campus. But we think that this is, and we're continuing to refine these.
Yeah.
We're just
Did
getting.
you look at Stoneface?
Yeah, we can, yes. I think we decided on brick. I'm not sure why we decided on brick. We're still investigating. I mean, it's, whether the ground floor is brick or it's stone, it's going to be a masonry on the ground floor before it sort of lightens up as it goes up. Let's go to the next slide. So this is just a side-by-side comparison of the two, what's there now versus what we're doing. And then we have a section on the bottom.
If you can pull it up a little.
Yeah. And the reason we did that is because we wanted to see, what the relationship of this was to the existing homes in the neighborhood.
Summit.
Thank you, on Summit. And in fact, I was actually over there yesterday because we had pictures taken during the summer when the trees were all full. I went yesterday because they're still bare. And because of the topographic change, which is actually relatively slighter than I thought, but also there's already a very heavy buffer. You really actually can't even see the existing buildings back there. And we're actually increasing that buffer. So we actually think, so that section line that we drew there, it's not a real section because it turns, but you can see the various building height.
Walk them through the bottom on the cross section.
So on the right side, we start with the homes on Summit. And we have these sort of views from both the first and second floor. Then you have the existing buffer. Then you have, I think it's 120, 130 feet.
110.
And then you have our street before the townhomes. The townhomes there, we're listing at 40 feet. There actually probably be 38. And then we have the more space in between the townhomes and the multifamily building, which we're listing at 50 feet. I think it's actually going to be closer to 46 feet when all is said and done, but that's the height limit. So we wanted to see what that looked like.
Odd question here,
Mhm.
or statement. How could someone make an argument that your buffer isn't as good as you're illustrating here?
You'd have to ask.
Well, I have a question.
Well, they
Say what?
My question is related to that. In your section, the buffer, the trees,
Mhm.
are they existing or proposed?
Those trees are the existing trees.
How tall are they?
Oh, God, they're pretty
They're big.
mature. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the existing aerial, you see them on the right side there?
Yes, right here.
Right, those trees. Now, if you go up to the existing aerial, you move your
Yeah.
hand maybe.
To your left.
15
Yeah, right
Right
in
there. Right. Those are the existing trees.
Okay, they are existing.
Those are
and
existing.
If you go to the next page,
Okay.
you've got
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, well,
so there you go.
was doing.
Right, there you go. So these were existing pictures. Now, these are actually when there was vegetation. So we wanted to show it with the vegetation. You can see the scale of those trees. They're huge and nothing's happened to those trees. On the right side, I note those numbers are where these various pictures were taken. So you see, you have no idea that there's an office park there. Although I would imagine at night with lights on the surface parking lots, you probably do. And that's why we actually outlined in gray the surface parking lot. You can see that's all of the area that is effectively impervious. There's planting islands and whatnot, but there's lights in there and everything. On the next slide,
Before you turn away, are the trees we're looking at in those pictures, are they yours? Are they on the property of the subject?
They're
Yeah,
ours. They're ours.
Okay.
There's some space, I think, from the trees to our property line, actually. So they're
So-
not right on the line, they're offset.
But you will probably put some kind of a restriction, not to take those trees down.
Sure, they're gonna be part of the
And
landscape
5
plan.
acres instead.
Yeah, they'll be part of the landscape plan.
Sure.
Type of trees.
Yeah.
So back to circling back to my point. The buffer will be better than
Yes.
it is now.
Yeah, you'll have more green space.
Well, you're gonna see
and
that.
more
You're telling us,
landscaping.
you're telling the planning commission, the buffer will be better.
Yes,
And it'll
We
be
want to hear
maintained.
that, so that's
the
good.
buffer will be
The
better.
buffer will be better. If you go to the next
And
slide,
it'll be maintained.
And it will be maintained, yeah,
Right,
all
but
that.
that's a requirement.
Consistent with how it exists today.
It'll be better than.
It'll be
what-
better than it is today.
We have a
What I'm saying.
landscape plan we can
Right,
show
you're
you
just
with,
saying, like, trees die and fall down, trees.
Oh,
Maintain it and all that, yeah.
That's what I mean by maintain.
so now what we did is we replaced slides 1 and 2 with the photos from yesterday. Obviously, there are coniferous trees, so they still have, green on them. But the slide on the left, number 1, you can see that, there's
the leaves are off.
the leaves are off the trees and you still have pretty much no view of what's going on here. And then on the right side, what we did is we went ahead and outlined sort of the existing conditions over again on top of us, so you can see how the buffer, instead of, high parking lot lights, there'll be low street lights. So it's a completely different scale. Is this the last slide?
So wait, say that again? So the
Instead of the
lights,
high parking lot
current-
lights that currently exist,
The light standards.
the light standards, we have a street
right,
and they'd be much lower.
And if you look at the black
how
outline
much
there-
lower?
What's that?
How much lower
We
will the
haven't,
lights
we haven't
be?
spec'd them that, but I'm guessing the street lights now are what, 25, 20? Yeah,
And
so,
then, so
We're gonna
No.
drop them,
yeah, they'd be like 15.
maybe
And our
even
and our
lower.
lighting code's gonna require.
Yeah.
To be, shielded. in a
Yeah,
way
that's
that
that's exactly
The
right. I
current
mean,
light, they don't have to meet code now, right?
Well, and what I was also gonna say is that if you look at where the black outline goes, especially towards 2 and 3, that's a parking area now where at one point, when the office was full, till 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock,
with
you
the
had
light
cars
pointing that
coming in
way.
and out constantly. So that goes away. You get green space and residential neighborhood, and then just the road in between the townhomes. You don't get the same impact as what you get from the current office setup.
so-
Yeah, right. I mean, I think we've all got to keep in perspective too, that the commercial market has changed and at a time, the lighting and coming in and out. You can't say because the market changes why you can't allow for the use.
Right.
Like we had cars and lights before COVID.
They could come back at some point if the office market.
If the office market came
Or you change it to medical office and all of a sudden it's full.
and
And
you
you'll
gotta
have all those cars there.
Right.
So here you're creating a more consistent, this is the planner, consistent land use adjacent to a residential land use. You're doing residential to residential as opposed to non-residential to residential. And you're increasing the buffer between the two.
where are the proposed rents for the project?
So I think rents will probably be about,
Based on square footage of?
I was just gonna say, so the average apartment size might be about 1,000 square feet. That will be able to help me here. A 1 bedroom, we think will probably be about 800 square feet. So if you do 800 square feet times $3 per square foot, $2,400 a month for utilities. And then average 2 bedroom will probably be about 1,200 square feet.
Yeah, that's about right.
So times $3 per square foot, you'd be about $30 a month. And then the townhomes are approximately 1,700 square
Yeah,
feet.
16, yeah.
And
16.
they'll rent for, because it's a larger space, the average rent will probably be closer to $2 a square foot. And forgive me, I can't quite do.
That's okay.
math.
Yeah, it's okay.
That'll probably be about.
I'm in
$4,000.
commercial, I sell multifamily properties.
I'm quite-
Okay,
I know the names.
okay. I was already doing the math, just full disclosure. I'm just trying to understand where rents are gonna be relative to where rents are in the market.
Right.
So this looks fantastic. I don't love the brick, just for the record, but that's just my taste being a resident. But also want to make sure that the rents can be at a level that makes it work for you all, but also residents can afford, right?
There is one other big impact that we wanted to highlight for the planning commission, and our traffic engineer is here, but we can just go through very quickly on the next, I think it's 2 slides down now. It's the comparison of the trip generation. I think you're all aware of what office is like during peak hours versus what a residential development is like. If we can go to the next page, there's a short summary, 2 pages, sorry. And if we can blow it up, I can highlight what the major comparison is. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth bullet point down. The existing site at full capacity. Okay, when you compare this proposed development, it will generate 128 less new trips, or 68% less during the weekday AM peak hour. 106 less trips, or 59% less during the weekday PM peak hour, and 59 less new trips, or a 44% decrease than the Saturday midday peak hour. So clearly, it's a benefit when it comes to trip generation, assuming full use of an office complex versus a residential complex. So
But
that's-
Mr. Ailman, didn't you say,
Services
didn't you
like
say
Dot-
that? Didn't you say that you're, I don't know, 60% down, you're
Yes.
30 to 40% use? So should we reduce those numbers by 60 to 70%?
Alex is here too, if you want to
Go
talk.
to the next bullet down, on that, do a comparison of using existing. Thank you.
Existing occupancy?
Existing. No, it's next bullet below the one. that's-
Just because we may have people listening from
No,
home.
I understand.
But
So I-
hold on a second. I'm just saying, if you're, since, can you speak it into the
And
mic?
who you are, Alex?
Alex Weitzler with Traffic Planning and Design. We prepared the traffic report that's associated with this application. And just to build on what Mr. Edelman just said, the next bullet down, the 6th bullet on the executive summary, and I'll read it. Based on a comparison to the existing site at current occupancy, the proposed redevelopment will generate 10 less trips during the AM peak hour, 1 less trip during the PM peak hour, 67 more trips during the Saturday midday peak hours.
Clearly, more people live in their house on Saturday than their office, you would hope.
Yeah, right. But that's based on the existing occupancy of the
40%.
And that's more of an apples to apples comparison in today's.
if you went
Day and
out there
age.
this afternoon,
Good point.
yes, if you went out there this
Yeah,
afternoon.
Assuming a continued depressed office market and the building could continue as a depressed office, which Mr. Coyle will tell you it could not, because somebody's going to call a loan at some point and say you can't continue to have this as an office market.
Or you can't own it anymore.
That's correct. Take your pick.
Yeah.
One way or the other, it would
Right.
change, right? The
Right.
use would have to change. You'd either have to come back to office at some point or come into some other use that would generate more traffic.
Mhm.
So that's why we started this process of, well, what would that other use be? That's where we wound up with where we are.
And can, I know the struggle in the city is office buildings, square buildings with a center core don't lay out well. Can you maybe change the spot and just kind of talk about why you're not
Rehabbing the existing
rehabbing the
structures.
existing
Yeah.
improvements?
Yeah.
Actually,
good
center
question.
city buildings are probably easier than suburban office buildings
And
to,
these, yeah.
yeah. The structure doesn't make any sense, the width. And by the time you do everything you would need to do to try to either take a structural bay out or carve a hole in it, you're actually spending more than to actually rehab it. And plus, then you also have different egress, different structural characteristics. It just, the suburban office building, unfortunately, is not a sustainable type of structure that's really built to last or be converted to other things, whereas. an
Tell me
office tower can.
Tell me about the tax rateable difference between having a commercial office building with 30 to 40% occupancy versus having a residential building.
Brian's happy to do that. And you're right to ask, right? So that's where we are at this point. And Steve may even know as well, having seen the reassessment appeals that constantly have been coming through, but go ahead, he's got his.
I got my pen and I'm gonna try my best to do some quick math here. So you have I'm trying to think of how to ballpark this. So
I've got my calculator.
What's your assessed value?
that's what I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. Unfortunately, I've got,
We can
Has-
do, we
has
can do
it changed?
10,000 level. We don't need to have
Yeah.
exact amounts. So.
I would
so-
say,
Dollars a foot.
So tell me why.
I want to say currently we probably spend about, and I'm shooting from the hip here, so I will happily be corrected. I believe we spend between $2 and $2.50 a square foot in real estate taxes.
And is that assessment comparable to what you think the building is worth, or is that on one that you would likely appeal?
I believe that's based on where we've gone in recently and had success on appeals.
What was it before?
It was probably closer to $3 or $3.50 a square foot. As the step ratio has continued to rise in Delaware County, every year we take a look and we try to compare and see where there's opportunities to go in. And then so that would be, call it $2 a foot on 150,000 square feet. And that would be all taxes. That would be municipal, school district, and county, just to put it out there. And then I think the taxes would be at least 3 or 4 times higher under this proposed development, at least just sitting here and not trying to overstate something.
Your total unit count, you have 192 apartments.
Correct.
And how many townhomes?
50.
50.
242 total.
Correct.
You're probably paying about $960,000 in taxes.
I was thinking something similar, but I didn't
Like
want to.
about 4,000 a unit,
Correct.
roughly.
That makes sense when you say it that way.
Seems
They would be paying that.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the,
very back of the napkin.
This
Yeah.
plan would,
It kind of ends up.
So are you
10,000 a
saying,
million.
are you saying to me that it'll increase by 400% of what is existing or 300%?
300%, based on the back of the
And-
napkin math.
And Brian, your hope is to move those folks that are in your current buildings over to your other building,
correct.
which would then allow that building to go back up in value as well, correct?
Exactly. By taking
And you're not
150,000,
counting that in.
yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you there.
No, I just was saying, you're not even counting
That
that
Correct. Yes.
reassessment in there as well.
Correct, yeah. So the school district would have the opportunity to file an appeal and
Bring
see
those units
that
up.
the 2 buildings that we own that remain, which we would move tenants over, should be able to support a higher value because they are better occupied now. And then it takes 150,000.
Some of that real estate tax expense in your operating expenses and your reimbursements that you get from tenants.
Correct. So they're all gross leases. So,
Okay. Just,
but
of
right now, so for instance, building 14 completely vacant. So,
course not.
there's no one there to
Right.
recover those taxes against.
Well, if nothing is done, the lender's gonna say, send me the keys.
Mhm.
And I've seen plenty of occasions, the lenders never do a good job. And tax appeals occur because the building degrades. There's no upside to having a struggling property of this scale in our town.
No.
I mean, it's just,
In my opinion.
it's all downside for us. Whether it occurs today or in 3 years, it's just, it's not good.
I mean, we've seen it just from when we started our initial discussions with the township 2.5 years ago. Continues to go down. So we have not seen the trend reverse in any way.
Correct.
This is a conditional use application before us now.
Right.
How tight is this plan under the conditional use?
It complies.
You'll have to still, I understand that you're gonna argue.
No,
that.
I'm saying it actually complies.
Okay.
Like, there's nothing here that requires any deviations or modifications at all with respect to compliance with the objective criteria under the Campus Boulevard redevelopment ordinance.
Yeah, I'll come back to that in a
Eric,
second.
did you see anything about compliance? You,
No, I assume you're going a little broader. Do you want to ask
Yeah.
your question first?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So my question is, tell me why this does not have a detrimental effect on frankly, the safety, comfort, convenience of the community, because that's a standard
Okay,
under conditional use.
so under the.
Tell me why.
Well, I'm gonna give you the legal reason, and then we can talk about the actual reason. Okay, so the legal reason is as long as the use is permitted,
Mhm.
the governing body of a municipality has already legislatively determined that it is consistent with that and not adverse. Okay, so that's the law. The actual reason is everything that we talked about here in terms of the buffering from the neighborhoods, the additional trees that will be planted. We haven't even gotten to the landscape plan, the change in the use so that it's more consistent now, as opposed to you have to assume that the office would be at 100%, not at 40% when you're comparing the two. I know they don't seem like apples to apples, but you have to assume, don't forget, at one point, this was a thriving office park,
Mhm.
and that's what you had. You had all those cars there, so that can happen again. So when you compare, you have to compare that use versus this use. And this use has less impact on a residential neighborhood because it's residential, as opposed to that non-residential office or commercial use. So the lighting changes, the stormwater increases, the traffic decreases, all the things get brought up to current code in terms of land development. The landscaping improves, the lighting comes down, the spread of the lighting comes down. I mean, there's all these net positives in terms of making sure it doesn't have an actual adverse impact on surrounding property.
With bringing in, what is it, 192 apartment units and 50.
Townhomes, that's correct.
So how many persons do you believe would be there? 1.7 per unit, maybe?
Sure, so just for ease,
50-50 mix on the,
One
on
and twos.
92?
What'd you show it at, Seth?
50-50.
50-50? So 50% one bedrooms, 50% two bedrooms, and then you have the townhome.
That's correct.
Okay,
So you figure,
so there's, what are the, I don't know what the occupancy requirements are. 2 people in a 1 bedroom, 4 people in a 2 bedroom,
It's
but you're
50
not.
it's age restricted,
age
55,
restricted,
so
so
I think
different
1.8, probably 1.7 per unit is
Something
probably
like
fair.
that.
Fair.
My
Okay.
question is not to that. My question is, does this put a burden on the municipality to have more fire and police to be able to
If there's 400 more people,
Yeah,
protect that?
yeah.
Tell me why that's not a detriment.
so the buildings that were there, if we're saying,
they're
you
full
know,
occupied. by
at
people.
full occupied would at least have 600 people in them as well, so that would be a net
You got
reduction.
350 to 400 square
People
feet a
in-
person.
Exactly.
In an office
Yeah,
building.
I don't know the number of parking spaces off the top of my head, but yeah, between employees working at the property and visitors to the property, vendors or clients that are coming and going. And then certainly traffic is a component that causes emergency responders to come out, and as we discussed,
And you're gonna
that is the
suggest-
same or less.
You're going to suggest that the higher tax revenues from the residential use will be able to promote the hiring of more.
If
Public
necessary,
safety people.
if necessary, but unexpected that they would need to.
Okay, so let's get back. How tight is this plan? Because now you seem to be fairly crystallized, or at least fairly focused. This is conditional use. You're gonna have to come back for land development
Correct.
approval, and we kind of go through the whole thing again.
That's right.
Right now, you're asking for permission to be able to submit it to the Board of
right.
Supervisors, and then you come back to us and.
And then we do all the details, the stormwater
Right.
details, the landscaping details, the
Yes.
lighting details, the
Life
access
safety.
details, all that, the sidewalks, the trails, the amenity areas, all the things that this development would construct. We get into the nitty gritty as you guys are used to seeing in a regular land development application.
And I see that we have a pretty quick turnaround here, but when do you think you'll be back with that? Are we 6 months away? Are we
Well,
a year away?
So if you do the conditional use hearing, which is scheduled in April, then it would probably take a couple of months to fully engineer plans. We'd start working on some of the other details as well, such as, looking at traffic, water, sewer designs, those utilities as well. So you're probably looking about a 2 to 3 month process after conditional use before you could submit for land development. And then there'd be a set of reviews probably from your engineer before we'd show up here. to start going over the fine engineering details to make revisions to the plan so that our review letter and comments would be less when we show up. So you're probably a good 6 months after conditional use before we show up back in front of the planning commission with a land development.
Thank you, Mr. Edelman.
You're welcome. We've been through this, right? So,
So, mine, I'll go to public comment. Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, sure, Ben.
Where do you differentiate the two-story townhomes? Where do they become three-story, the multifamily?
Sure, if you could show one of the plans, maybe go back a couple pages, please.
Seth, here's Michael.
Thank you. That's fine. Actually, you can see at the end closest to the street of all of the townhome.
This one?
Nope, that's 3 stories.
All of them.
These?
Nope, closest to the street.
The one that
street
looks
goes
different.
through- The one that looks different.
They're a little
The
fat.
townhomes that look
They're a little
Yeah.
fatter.
They're a little fast. There you go. Got it.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So the ones that are closest to the street are the lower ones.
So, and that's important towards the back end of the property as well, because that's where they step down as you then get to the residential buffer.
So the ones closest to the neighborhood behind,
Are dropped.
Our drive.
they're two-story? And then how many units up does it transition to three-story?
Just one.
So the first unit facing the street is the two-story?
Yeah,
That's
so
correct.
you're literally seeing that 1 story difference right in the beginning. On the other side of the road, obviously, not right up.
The square footage is about the same,
Yeah.
they're wider, right?
Right,
Yes.
same but
Right.
wider, so you can have a master down.
Right.
Sorry, primary down.
Yes, primary bedroom.
Primary bedroom.
Primary.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, for public comment, keep it to 3 minutes. Per person, we want to keep it to really no more than a half hour. So if people have already made all your points and time's running thin, kind of have courtesy for the rest of us and everybody that's here. And it's comment, so it is not an opportunity to question the applicant. You can make a comment. They may choose to respond. They may not choose to respond. So anyone would like to come up? Also, name, address, and confirm that you are a resident of Newtown Township.
What is
Nope.
your name? Wait, last name, can you spell it just? Thank you. No, it's not. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm a local attorney and almost legal standards.
Hello? Is that working?
That
Great.
works now.
I'll start over. I presume my 3 minutes will as well. Gabrielle Bruno, 116 Stony Brook Boulevard, local attorney and resident. The legal standard Attorney Alderman stated is incorrect. Exclusio et alto. There's legal canons. The reason you have a list of characteristics means they're not presumed to be met. Among other things, they don't hit all of these. A detrimental effect, certainly. They haven't done a philosophy of architecture, philosophy of color. They don't know why they're putting brick. There's reasons that architects and that color and that materials matter to the quality of life of the residents. They also haven't done any town halls. We're not against you. The residents would love to work with you. We would love to work with the planning commission. Nobody contacts us or lets us know. The streets are too narrow, as the county pointed out in their letter. They're concerned with the parking. The parking only presumes 350 parking spots. Though the legal requirement's 300, you're bringing 600 people here. There's not going to be enough parking. The streets aren't wide enough. The county had a problem with that. The Fair Housing Act might be violated, as the county also noted, against the zoning issue. That's why they're not calling it a senior housing in the actual proposal, and they're saying the 55 and up. There's a legal issue with that. It's not consistent with the comprehensive plan. As Mr. Neese has noted, you are the people that enforce the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan on its own doesn't have legal bearing, but you are all appointed to enforce it. The comprehensive plan on page 22 states that the residents want a small town character restored to here. We keep hearing comparisons from the presentees about the city, about city building. We never want it to be a city. We're Newtown Square, we're a suburb, and we would like to preserve that characteristic as much as could be. Additionally, when you're looking at E, the proposed conditional use and circulation with pedestrian vehicles, I walked that street yesterday. Currently, when they are proposing that it's not at full condition, it's dangerous to walk that street or be anywhere near there as a pedestrian. To bring in more traffic and more residents and then try to say you're going to be having sidewalks and walk and bike, that's totally dangerous. Additionally, I recently spoke with the owner of 16 Campus Boulevard, who represented to me that he is at full capacity, which was different than what was presented. He's not only at full capacity, he said that they actually tried to buy their building to do something like this over there in some way, shape, or form, which goes against their whole background that they're really like flailing and don't know how to fill it. We want to work with you. We know that you need to put something there. We'll be happy as residents. I live right across the street. Many people here live nearby, but we would like to be partners with you. Wilbur Henderson, who founded this company, cared about community. He had Christian morals. He did great projects, but he always involved the community. And all we're asking is for his legacy to continue, that you'd work with Springton Point and Hunters Run and Ellis and Elgin and let us partner with you to find a good use for this land. Additionally, this hasn't gone before the EAC. This hasn't had sewage it hasn't had any look at the sewage that'll take place because you're bringing more residents in. You haven't looked at the stormwater, all of that, that's under F. So thank you. And finally, it will diminish our property values. There's not even a question. And furthermore, next week, the neighboring buildings are coming and asking, I think, for a hospital or something. We can't find the application. How could you make a decision on this without seeing holistically how this is going to affect our property values? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bruno.
I can talk fast.
Yes, you did. But we got it.
Yeah. Really noted. Name and address, please.
How you doing? Johnny Chambers, 334 State Road, Media, Pennsylvania, 19063.
Not Newtown Township?
Owner of Chrome Salon, Chrome
Okay.
Institute of Cosmetology.
You own property.
Yeah. Owner of Chrome Institute of Cosmetology, 335 Bishop Hollow. Or as we like to say, one campus, because all of our packages, when we use 335, go to the ball fields. So I'd like to first say that I'm very proud and honored to have my company in Newtown Square. Put over $1 million into a building. Andy, you were involved into it. Contrary to what the gentleman said, 335 Bishop Hollow is about 80% occupied. I'm looking to make it 100% occupied. You know, I think it's beautiful what you're proposing, and I think that I could be a very good partner to it. However, I have a concern, some things that are out there, some things that are popping up about the 335 and the 7 campus building. You know, it's directly going to impact my cosmetology school that I came before you all 3 different times and spent $2,000 each time to get the conditional use honored. So, you know, I need to know where my company stands in all this. And I really don't want to hear the answer, well, I need to go back and ask my landlord, because I'm asking you guys, because you guys granted me conditional use. I noticed that it's on the docket for next month, the 335 and the 7 campus. And I'm asking, you know, is my company going to be here? Because contrary to what was said, that building is 80% full, and we're looking to make it 100. The school's looking to take on more space. We are a great partner to the community. You know, we try our best not to interfere with the Little League, even though that it impacts our business big, right? We never say anything. At nighttime, we can't do any nighttime classes, can't work on the weekends because the Little League but we're proud of that. We're proud to be right next door to the Little League. When you guys had the tournament, we would go over there at lunchtime and watch the games. We're proud, very proud. And I think that we can offer a good service, right, to all these people, older people coming in, wanting to get, you know, their hair service done with us, with the students at a discounted price. But it concerns me when, you know, people are saying that the building's empty, and it's not. It's far from empty. And, you know, I want to know where I stand. I want to know where my company stands.
Sounds like a question for your counsel.
Well, I'm asking you guys because you guys, with all due respect, you guys, well. Yeah, I understand that it's not part of the application, but what I'm getting at is, are we going to be able to partner with these people as a business? Or is my building where you're gonna put the micro hospital or something like that next month? Because it's on the docket. It's on the docket.
Okay.
That doesn't have anything to do with this.
Well, I'm just asking though.
I know, but we're talking about their project.
And I think it's great, but people are saying that the building's empty and it's not.
Right, so I think
They may be mistaken.
relative to the data in the buildings
Yeah, I'm not. gonna
is,
start with you,
no, let me
please.
finish real quick.
Okay,
Relative to the
please
occupation,
don't point at me.
don't snap at me either then,
I didn't
okay?
slap at anybody.
Hey,
You did-
come on.
There's no need to do it. You've done it with multiple residents here tonight.
Thank you, sounds good. That sounds good. The occupancy in the buildings sounds good.
You're very rude. I don't know why.
You're doing it right back to me.
Hey.
You're doing it right back to me.
No.
Get out.
I'm
right here.
I'm listening.
Now,
Please, sir, please continue.
The point I'm trying to make
Yeah,
is occupancy down in Campus Boulevard? The answer to that is yes.
absolutely.
Is
I
there
think
maybe a
that-
percentage or two that's off because the data's old or not?
Sure,
Definitely, and
sure.
those numbers might be wrong.
Sure.
I got that. So what I'm doing here is I'm showing respect to the gentleman who's speaking right now.
That's my brother, yeah, thanks.
What does that have to do with what I'm talking
Okay,
about?
please continue.
Yeah.
Please
Right,
continue.
so all I'm saying is I recognize your point.
Yeah.
The data might be a little off, but occupancy is down and the commercial building
And
is
if you
down.
notice what I said to you, sir, I think that it's a beautiful idea and I think that we could be a good partner to it. But it makes me nervous when there's chatter and I'm asking people, I'm asking Leonard, nobody's responding to me. And you know how much I put into that building. We were granted occupancy by you guys. How is the 335 on the docket for next month for conditional use when I'm an occupant there?
We're unable to answer that.
Oh,
That's not us.
Yeah, wait,
Well,
hold on,
this is
hold
the
on.
zoning.
Hold on,
Go ahead.
though,
hold
isn't
on.
it?
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Planning commission.
Oh, I'm
Let me-
sorry.
Yeah.
Let me.
I
let-
apologize.
If I can,
Yeah,
tonight, what's before them
Yeah.
is this.
Yeah.
There's, at no point can they answer what that impact is, because they haven't even seen
okay.
what's coming next
So,
month.
Question for the zoning committee then.
Well, no, it would be, this will come before here next month, is my understanding.
Okay,
But they haven't even seen that plan yet,
gotcha.
okay? So,
How's it out there?
well, it's, my understanding is the application's turned in. We know that it's coming, so we're starting to put the information out so people know about
So
it.
then, Andy, I'm asking you. Am I going to?
I don't think we can answer that question.
Tonight.
And we've got a meeting to complete here. We are unable to answer that question.
Do you mind if I have a conversation with you side, Andy?
I don't have a problem in answering any questions that you may have that I can answer. But this is a question that I can't, because you don't own the building. So ultimately, it goes down to I believe your attorney, how your lease is written, and the owner of your building and what he plans to do with it.
Right. So, but
So obviously
something
there-
is obviously proposed then, obviously, because he just said it.
Yeah. But we need to carry on the meeting.
Okay,
If you're free to contact.
I would love to. I would love to if people answer me.
No, I understand. I
Yeah.
understand you're frustrated, but
Yeah. No, it's just.
we're not the right.
I get it.
people that
I
do that.
Not
apologize.
yet, at least.
I
Not yet.
apologize. Please, I hope.
Thank you for apologizing.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I
apologizing.
hope you don't take me the wrong way. It's
No,
just
thank you for
concerning.
apologizing. I respect that and I
It's
appreciate
just
that.
concerning when people say that there's nobody in the building and I have students and families that are hearing this
It has
and
nothing
it
to do
concerns
with
them.
Right,
Well,
we're
it does have something to do with it.
Right.
It absolutely does.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Not with
thank
tonight.
you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Chambers. I'm a resident at 400 Paddock Circle in Newtown Square, apartment 128. I live in the Ellis Preserve. I love the community. I'm very happy to be here. I also work with my brother. I'm the director of admissions for the school. I'm very passionate about what I do. I do have a comment and a concern though. Over at Ellis Preserve in the Harrisons, where I live, there was another parking lot that was on the plans. There was supposed to be a third parking lot across
well, not across 252, next to 252, running parallel to it behind the building. That parking lot was never put in. I don't know how the Harrison got away with not putting the parking lot in, but it was never put in. As a resident, the first night that I moved there, I came home, there was no parking spots available. I was told that I could park somewhere else across the 13-acre Ellis Preserve. For me, that's fine. My 68-year-old mother that has a hip replacement that can't do that, that's not okay. They live there in that building too, apartment 222. So with that being said, my comment back to Ms. Bruno, am I correct? With parking and the concern, how are we going to make sure that that actually happens? How is the standard going to stay that the parking will actually be put into place and that it's going to be able to handle everything that is coming? You don't have to answer it. It's just a comment on how that is going to happen and how, just making sure that the plans actually stay through to the very end. Because again, if you go onto the Harrison's website right now, if you go to their availability map, it shows a parking lot that is not there. If you go to the plans that were presented to this commission for the building, it shows a parking lot that is not there. I, as a resident, have to pay $150 a month to park underneath the building. So I have a place to park that's within a football field from my house. I want to make sure the same thing doesn't happen for these elderly folks. Okay? Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Chambers.
I apologize for any misconception of my personality or how I might be. I just get, I get excited for my community and everything that I'm a part of. We put a lot into this community
Okay.
and we want to make sure that it stays.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Davis Menya, 118 Stony Brook Boulevard. You mentioned public safety, and I'm just concerned because in comparison to office buildings and occupancy, pretty much the occupancy is during the daytime. It's not during the night. But when you put in public, private residences, the occupancy also is there full-time continuously. So to say there won't be enough, that the current public safety is enough, like the police and fire that's not enough, because these people are going to be here continuously during the day, during the night. So, and in all these apartments, they're going to be kitchens, the potential for fire is high. So the planning needs to include more fire safety for this area, just in case, because of the use has increased. Thank you.
Sir, can you just spell your last name, please?
Menya, Menya.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good point. Thank you.
Next. Anyone else? Okay. Any of the members have follow-ups? Thoughts?
You mentioned showing landscape design.
Yeah, it's one of the, I think, that plan that's up there. I can't tell which one. Is that it?
Yeah.
And we could have our engineer, John Alenikoff from Bowler, walk through the landscape plan for you as well. I have it here for you, John, if you want. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. John Alanikoff from Bowler. We're the civil engineer for the project. So what you see before you is, I don't want anyone to think that this is.
And if you could pull the screen down just a little bit so you can see the remainder of the landscape buffer. No, other way. Sorry.
Right.
There you go. So you can
So,
see it along the residential.
What I want everyone to understand with this landscape plan right now, this shows the quantity of plantings that are required. As Greg mentioned, we're going to have to come back through the land development process. So this isn't the fully sited where everything will exactly be. However, what you can see there, and what's important to note on the plan north, there's a substantial buffer there. What that does not show is the existing trees that are going to be preserved. So you're going to have that kind of landscape buffer along that property line in addition to the trees that are there. And what that will allow us to do is add understory plantings and different kinds of plantings to create a more full buffer throughout the year. And as you can see throughout the project, there's a substantial amount of plantings that are proposed on here as well. So the township's ordinances do a great job of requiring landscaping, and this plan shows what that quantity would look like on.
What's
on
the
the park.
distance front to back, along back into the residential area?
Sorry, the distance front to-
From the
the property
line?
To the townhomes?
to the townhomes or to the street. Because I know that, that buffer.
It's like here to here, here.
Better look at the new one.
So on the right-hand side, that's actually adjacent to 7 Campus Boulevard, because there are no residences along that notch that's there. That's about 30 feet.
Okay.
As you get adjacent to the residences, from the property line to the street is about 110 feet.
Okay.
Where if you were to look today at that same area where the residences are, it's about 30 feet of buffer to the parking lot.
So that 120 feet, or how much you said?
110.
110, would that all be, full of existing vegetation or not?
There would be, so there's an existing row of vegetation that we would add to.
My question is, this area here, how much of it is a vegetated kind?
I don't have the exact percentage, but there's existing parking lot that goes into that green area today.
So the parking lot would be ripped up, it'll become vegetated, whether we landscape it or whether we put all the landscaping along the perimeter and then leave it as
So I'm
grass.
not asking about land, vegetation, I'm asking about existing that you want to pave.
Right, well,
So this is a parking lot, no, that's a.
If you-
That's a driveway.
Saying over here, parking.
yeah, the
correct.
parking lot
In
too.
that area,
What
there's
I want
parking.
to know is if this area here currently has vegetation, which will be.
No, it's a parking lot,
That's a park. So they're gonna put vegetation in.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that they are maintaining.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
existing.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be adding, and what John is really saying is, we're showing how you could mass all the vegetation, landscaping that's required along the property lines. We can also do something different. We, of course, are keeping the existing, we can enhance that buffer, we can also make the buffer staggered. So you could pull more back into the green area. There's a number of different things we could do as we go through land development. We have a lot of room is really what we're trying to say.
On what?
A lot of
Shimon.
room to plant.
Shimon, I just want to say, there is existing there.
That was
But
those
it-
pictures we saw.
Yeah, in the picture, so there's a row of trees.
Along
or
the
several
property
rows of trees that are right
Okay,
there.
So there is a row of trees, but it's not a forest there that.
No.
No,
Correct.
All right.
That's right, that's right.
And is this gonna be one parcel? I don't know
Yes.
if it is today.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's gonna be owned by one entity.
You know,
It's gonna
the
be one
reverse subdivision
No,
and,
No, you will not.
what's that?
You don't need to do a reverse subdivision.
it's all one.
Oh, we're gonna merge it. We're gonna
Yeah.
merge it.
Right.
It'll be consolidated into one parcel. Oh, is it one person?
It's one person now.
That's the
Right,
thing.
so you really don't need a subdivision.
Yeah, you
No,
know.
no subdivision
You
required.
just need land development.
That's correct. That's correct. And we're not condoing it. It's gonna be a rental. So the whole community is gonna be owned by one entity. Oh, and the one other thing, I don't know if Seth said, the townhome rental residents will be able to use the amenities at the apartment. So it's gonna be open to everyone in the community.
And what would be? Who would be your competition? This was open today, just curious.
Do we have any competition?
I mean, it's not really a Dunwoody, it's not really a.
Your
not
competition would be
yeah.
Canvas and King of
King of
Prussia.
Prussia, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay, yeah.
It would be the Harrison, it would be the first phase of the apartments that Equus did in Ellis Preserve. That's not age restricted,
But
but
that's
just
who's there.
hard, but because there are, as I understand it, the
And-
resident demographic in the first phase of Ellis Preserve does have
I
a
see.
fair amount of empty nesters.
Yes.
The Harrison has,
The
the
Avon
demographic
too,
is a
or
little
whatever.
younger, from what I've been told. And then there is an age-restricted property
Oh, like
corner
Tech-
of.
What's the
two
Ave?
of
That
Ave,
goes, it used to
yeah.
be Bizzuto, the
Ave.
Ave on two
Like
fifty-two.
Tetra.
Yeah.
The apartment.
The station at
Yeah,
Newtown
right
Square
now, yeah.
had, but there's an age-restricted property, I forget the name of it, at Bryn Mawr Avenue and Route 3. It's sort of tucked back. It's right by the Kelly Building. That's age-restricted. There's
Different-
another
different.
project that starts with a W
Yeah,
on Route
yeah.
3, not far from St. Anastasia. I think it starts, yeah, that's age-restricted. but it's older.
Yes.
But it just falls under that same age restricted category. I would also say, just as a general comment, in my experience, age restricted product, the age tends to start with a 7 and not a 5.
That's correct.
For those
That's
who
correct.
are nearing that age and
I-
thinking they need to move there.
I think the canvas is probably the most comparable. That's what we've seen, that type of demographic, that'll be like 65 to 70 going into the age restricted community, not the 55.
Yeah, the age at Canvas is more like 72.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And their rents are about
Uh,
$3,100,
to
$3,200.
Depending on how many bedrooms they get, yeah.
Good point.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just in, also in frame of reference of traffic, I live right across from Campus Boulevard, so I'm very aware of the traffic. And that age group drives a little less.
Yes, the 65, 70 versus 55, yeah.
Has fewer cars too. You might have
Yeah.
2 residents in a unit, but they most likely would only have 1 car.
Any other comments from the board?
Nope.
Before we have someone wants to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission recommend to the Board of Supervisors the conditional use approval of the proposed 192 apartment units and 50 townhomes in an age-restricted residential development, which of course would be subject to all municipal land development approval and further approvals by the various bodies with the municipality.
Good second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. 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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries for the conditional use.
See you soon. Thank you very much.
See you in the fall.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Good night.
It's, you know.
I don't think people understand the framing.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.